Good morning. Welcome everyone. We are privileged to have amongst us Mr. Rahul Singh, an author, banker and a community builder. We Jaipurians know him better as an ex-Jaipurian who will always remain a Jaipurian.
To further acquaint the audience with Mr. Rahul Singh, he is an expert at connecting ideas, insights and individuals. He is the initiator of Gyanology, a platform to democratize wisdom. He is the principal of Corporate Advisory Group in IIM Udaipur, Assistant Director of Strategy and Marketing at Nanyang Technological University, Singapore, a President for Indian Institute of Management Bangalore Alumni Association in Singapore, and an Academic Council member at Jaipuriya Institute of Management.
Hailing from the holy city of Ayodhya and brought up in Lucknow, Rahul received full scholarship to study Bachelor's in English, honors from Nanyang Technological University, Singapore, and has an MBA from IIM Bangalore. Rahul is passionate about helping people find purpose, advocating conscious capitalism, and promoting cross-cultural understanding. He has authored several books on purpose of life, such as You Know the Glory and Not the Story, From Engineering to Ikigai, and An Atheist Gets the Gita.
Welcome, sir. Thank you.
One day of Brahma is 1,000 Mahayuga. How big is the Mahayuga? Just now we did the calculation. 4.32 million years, okay? So if you multiply that with 1,000, what do you get? 4.32 billion, okay? That's the day of Brahma. He has the equal duration of night. What's the total duration now? Day plus night? 8.6. No, 4.32 plus 4.32 is what? 8.64 billion years. Any physics students here? Anybody who's interested in physics? How old is the universe according to science? 13.8 billion years. How big is the day of Brahma? Day and night? 8.6 billion years. You just did the calculation, right? What does it tell you? The point I'm trying to drive is that these scriptures that were written in India, they're written hundreds and thousands of years back. And our calculation says that a day of Brahma, which is the time in which the universe is created and destroyed, is roughly 8.6 billion years. Modern science, using cosmic background radiation, they estimate, the word is estimate, the universe to be 13.7 billion years. Look at the similarity of time and matter. Right? This is before they had any telescope. Look at how deep work has been done even in the field of science. So when people tell you that the scriptures are not scientific, we need to challenge that. Even the speed of, or rather I would say the speed of light is also mentioned in scriptures very precisely and comes to the same date as we know today, or the same speed as we know today. Okay? Now let me come back. I asked you a question. How old is Mahabharata? We just noted that. How old is Ramayana? Yeah. 10,000? Any other guesses? It happened in two different yugas. So, Ram came in which yuga? And Krishna came in? Was it immediately before he came? Yes, because Treta comes before Dwapar. Did he come immediately before? Yes or no? So what comes before Dwapar? Who came in Treta? Who came in Dwapar? So logically speaking, he should have come before, right? But that's not true. Ram actually came 4 Mahayugas before Krishna came. Okay? So Ram came in the 24th Mahayuga cycle and Krishna came in the 28th Mahayuga cycle. 1 Mahayuga is equal to 4.32 million years. If you multiply that with 4, what do you get? Roughly 16. And because there is a difference of Treta and Mahayuga, you have to add that as well. 18 million years is the answer. Ramayana, according to our scriptures, according to multiple Puran, Vayu Puran, Skand Puran, happened in the 24th Mahayuga cycle. We are currently in the 28th Mahayuga cycle, Kali Yuga. So Ramayana actually, according to our scripture, happened 18 million years back. That's the timeline we are talking about. And by the way, both Mahabharata and Ramayana are called collectively Itihas. Itihas means it so happened. Itihasa. It so happened. And then beyond Itihasa we have Puran. Puran का मतलब ही होता है पुराना, something that is old. So something that happened 18 million years ago, we are calling it Itihas, we are calling it recent history, modern history. Something that is even older than that, we are calling that Puran. Look at the magnitude. Now go and see what part of that you actually study in your history books. Does it baffle you? We merely study 5,000 years of history, if at all, in our textbooks. And here in scriptures, we are talking about millions of years. Okay? So with that, let's start. Is Bhagavad-Gita relevant today? So what's Bhagavad-Gita? It's a selection of lessons that Krishna gave to Arjuna. What else?
Is the various teachings of God given for the life to be conduct and how we should execute our lives.
Exactly. So this we have already dealt with, right? We have done this calculation. Everybody understood? So what is Bhagavad-Gita? As the gentleman over there said, Bhagavad-Gita is an instruction manual. Instruction manual for what? Instruction manual for life. Okay? When you go to a shop, you buy an equipment, you buy a machine, you buy a washing machine, you buy a phone, you buy a microwave. It comes with an instruction. What will happen if you don't have an instruction? What will happen? You won't be able to? Yes. What else will happen? If you don't have an instruction manual and you bought something or you brought something, would you know how to use it? No. You will only guess how to use it. So when you came, all of you, when you came to this world, were you given an instruction manual for your life? How to lead your life? Anybody had an instruction manual? Anybody came with an instruction manual? Here is me, here is my instruction manual. None of you, right? And that's why we are lost as to how to lead our life. And if you want to understand how to lead your life, you need an instruction manual. And there is no better instruction manual than the Bhagavad Gita itself. What is Bhagavad Gita? Bhagavad Gita essentially tells you how a jiva interacts with Prakriti in Kala, governed by the laws of karma, designed by the Ishvara or the Supreme Controller. Let me break it down. What's a jiva? Life. Yes, jiva is life, right? According to scriptures, there is soul, Atman. When the Atman goes inside the body, it becomes embodied soul or the jiva. You can understand jiva as life. Okay? All living beings are jiva. What's prakriti? Nature. So anything other than you is prakriti. You are also prakriti, but from your point of view, anything exterior to you is prakriti. Okay? So the jiva interacts with prakriti. The jiva, the living being, interacts with the environment. Okay? We agree with that? From a biology perspective, we agree with that? Where is this interaction happening? In time, in Kala. From a physics point of view, we agree with that? This interaction is happening in time? Anybody disagrees? Okay. So if this interaction is happening, it must be governed by some laws. What are those laws? The laws of karma. And if there is a law, there must be a law designer. Who is the law designer? Ishvara, the supreme controller. At least theoretically we understand that, right? Whether we believe in God or we don't believe in God, we'll come to that question in the Q&A. But if you were to take it as a framework, you understand this, right? So a jiva interacts with Prakriti in Kala, governed by the laws of karma, designed by Ishvara. So far clear? And that is why this is instruction manual, because it tells you how you, the jiva, has to interact with environment according to the laws of karma. Now the karma is also very intricate. We'll come to that in subsequent slides. But it's just like traffic rules, right? If you drive, you need to follow rules, right? If you don't follow rules, what's going to happen? Accidents are going to happen. So the rule tells you the consequences. It doesn't tell you what you should do. It tells you if you do this, this is going to happen. If you do that, that is going to happen. It's up to you whether you follow the rules or not. Okay? In order to follow the rules, we must first know the rules, right? So that's what I'm going to talk about. Okay. How many of you have read the Bhagavad Gita? Raise your hands. Okay. Few people in front, people in the back. How many characters are there in the Bhagavad Gita? 2? 4? Who's saying 4? बताइए कौन कौन से 4 है?
Sir, Krishna, Arjuna, Sanjaya, Dhritarashtra.
Give him a round of applause. There are 4 characters. Yeah, you have something to add on to that?
It was just a meeting and Lord Krishna wanted to part Gita to Hanuman. And Hanuman was in form in the flag of the chariot of Arjuna.
But Hanuman is not directly speaking in the Bhagavad Gita.
So we can say that he's a part.
Sure, go ahead. That's fair enough. Give him a round of applause. So in terms of speaking, there are 4 characters. In terms of listening, there are 5 characters. Okay? So the story is something like this, that there is a war that is happening, and Dhritarashtra is a blind king. He has Sanjaya. Sanjaya has Divya Jyoti, divine vision. Through that he can see what is happening in the battlefield. He is narrating that to Dhritarashtra. And in that narration he is narrating what is happening between Krishna and Arjuna. Okay? So the very first time Krishna speaks in the Bhagavad Gita, it says Sri Bhagwan Vacha. Okay? It says that, right? So who is Sri Bhagwan? We need to understand that. Okay? Why I am saying this is because, a lot of people will come and tell you that Bhagavad Gita is not a religious book. I personally disagree with that, because the book, time and again, every time Krishna speaks, says Sri Bhagwan Vacha. That means God speaking. Bhagwan is literally God. How much more religious do you want it to be when God himself is speaking in the book? Right? It is a religious book. There is no doubt about that. But here is the thing. Even if you take religious aspect out of it, even if you take divinity out of it, and then you look at the book, and then you say, okay, I am taking out the divinity out of this, I am taking out the religious aspect out of this. Now, if I look at the book, does it have anything of value to offer to me? And even from that point of view, when you look at the book, it turns out it has a lot to offer to you. Really a lot. And my own book, which is called An Atheist Gets the Gita, is a work in that direction. Trying to understand how an atheist would understand the Bhagavad Gita. Okay? So, who is Bhagwan? Who is Bhagwan? God? The perfect human being? Who else? The supreme power. Yes? Huh? Son of eternity. Okay. Okay. Anything else? You see, in our scriptures, or in mythology, so as to say, we don't per se have any proper nouns. These are all adjectives. For example, Krishna. Krishna itself is an adjective. So it's comprised of 2 words if you break it down, Krish and Na. So Krishna. Have you heard of this Hindi word Akarshan? Akarshan and Krishna are the same root. What does Akarshan mean? Attractive. And Na means possessor. So what will Krishna be? Possessor of all attraction. That's Krishna. Okay? Now let's look at Ram or Rama. What is Ram? What does it mean? हाँ जो मन में रमे वो राम है. That's the definition. जैसे मैं बोल रहा था हिंदी में बोलते मैं इस काम में रम गया हूँ. तो राम मतलब pleasure. Rama is the reservoir of pleasure. जो pleasure दे वो राम है. ठीक है? Similarly, Bhagwan, we translate that as God, or we practically or pragmatically translate that as God, but let's look at it from a more definitional perspective. So the definition of Bhagwan is in Vishnu Puran 6.5.47, that's the verse. Okay? According to that definition, Bhagwan is anybody who has these 6 opulences, and not just has them in full. What are these opulences? Anybody who claims to be Bhagwan needs to have beauty, strength, fame, renunciation, knowledge and wealth. Not just have them in full. Just look around you. Somebody who is slightly more beautiful, Aishwarya Rai for example, we think they become immediately attractive to us, right? Somebody who has more money than other people, for example Bill Gates, they become attractive, right? Even sadhus, those who have renounced the world, those who don't have anything, they also become attractive because they have renounced things. They're only a little bit more than you, more than the average, yet they become so attractive. Now imagine somebody who has all that strength, all that beauty, but in full. That's the definition of Bhagwan. Okay? One more thing I want to draw your attention to is, look at this wealth and look at this renunciation. Can you have both wealth and renunciation at the same time? Yes? Explain how.
Sir, we can have both renunciation and wealth if we are not too much asakti to that wealth.
If we are not too much?
Too much in asakti to that wealth.
Yes. Give him a round of applause.
When we don't have a desire to use that specific wealth
No, I would not say not a desire to use that specific wealth, but you are on the right track.
on the bright side we can on a good part we can use it, but not to claim our desires, because our desires are the cause of our sufferings and it will keep getting more and more. We can't stop our desires.
Exactly. Give her a round of applause. Okay, so I think you understand, but let me rephrase it, okay? So renunciation doesn't mean that you don't have anything. It doesn't mean that you don't possess anything. It means nothing should possess you, right? You can possess a lot of things, but nothing controls you, nothing possesses you. That's renunciation, okay? So the so-called Bhagwan or God has all the wealth in the world. You all know what GDP is? You all know what is the GDP of India? What is the GDP of India? 3.0. 3.0 what? 5 trillion. 5 trillion is a good nara. That's not the GDP. It's 2.8 trillion, okay? And now imagine how much wealth the entire earth has. It'll be more than 2.8 trillion, correct? Now imagine how much diamond, how much gold and how much precious metal and everything else that is there in the earth. Now imagine the entire solar system. What's the GDP of this, or what's the wealth in the entire solar system? Multiply with that Milky Way, multiply with that billions and millions of galaxies. That's the amount of wealth that God has. Yet he's renounced to it, not attached to it. That's the key. Not being attached. You can possess things, but nothing possesses you. Like she was saying, desires. Right? When you have desire, you get attached to those things. Let's move on. So we'll come to this equation. Which one of you likes math here? All of you like math. And which one of you would dare to explain that equation? Oh, very few. Now nobody likes maths.
Your possessions shouldn't control you. Desires are those selfish, maybe that will control you in the future. Desires which you wish to fulfill, but those attainment you should use to yourself to help others or keep it to yourself. Those are happiness when those possessions doesn't intersect with your desires and you don't get selfish with it. Then when you get the pure happiness you need.
Okay, you're around there, yeah. But let's hear somebody else. Is there somebody else who wants to explain that? It's exactly as it says actually.
Happiness is equals to attainment minus desire means that when we have attained something, we are not constantly aspiring to attain more of it. That is, we have somewhere हमने अपने मोह का त्याग कर दिया है, and we have that santushti in us to get to not constantly have greed in our mind to get more and more. Somewhere.
Okay, you are on the right track, but you have gone 3 levels deeper into the equation. We want a very simple first level interpretation of the equation.
Attainment is everything that we possess, and the desires are the selfish needs of man to get more and more of it and use it for bad things and all the atrocities.
Sure.
And so if we have attainment of the things and we subtract the desires of ours to use them for selfish needs, then we get happiness.
That's about there. Yeah, very good interpretation. Now let's hear from you.
Sir, I think desires are never ending, and even after we attain what we first desired, we want more. So if after attaining some attainment minus desire, I think that's what will get happiness from.
Okay, that's also quite there. Somebody else was raising hand in the middle. Yeah.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Sir, as you said that attainment is possessing something and desire is letting some other thing possess you. So basically desire is the attachment to the materialistic things. So if we take out that attachment to materialistic things, we'll get happiness.
Okay.
So from what I can make out, attainment refers to trying to work tirelessly and wholeheartedly towards a goal, and desire in this case, negating the desire from our attainment, refers to not worrying about the consequences of our actions and whether we'll succeed or fail.
Sure. So all of you are right. So give yourself a round of applause. Okay? All of you are right. And very good interpretation. I do this class everywhere. I do this in India, outside, right from school students to MBA student, even professionals. And you guys have a very nuanced understanding. Maybe the school is doing something right here. So give a round of applause for the school as well. Now let's break it down. I'll give you 3 levels of interpretation of this, okay? And some of you have actually gone into the 3rd level of interpretation, which I'm very delighted to hear. On the first superficial level, it says happiness is equal to attainment minus desire, right? So when will you be happy? When this equation is negative or when this equation is positive? Positive. So the goal is to make this equation positive, okay? So there is attainment, there is desire. Let's say all of you write exams in this school. Do you get 80, 90 or do you get ABC? What do you get? ABC? Both? Okay, so let's take example of 80, 90, 100. All of you have had that kind of exam where you got 80, 90 or whatever? Okay. Let's say you're writing an exam and you desire to get 80 in the exam. Somehow you got 90. What will happen? Why are you happy? You got more than what you were desiring. Okay? What if you get 70? Why will you be sad? Okay. So this is the thing, right? That 80 is your imaginary boundary that you created, and that threshold, if you go beyond that, you're happy. If you go below that, you're unhappy, right? That is the desire you had. Okay? So on the first level, it's very simple to understand that when we get more than we desire, we are. When we get less than what we desire, we are sad. But now let's look at the second level interpretation of this. So one way of keeping this positive is by always keep on attaining more and more and more and more and more. Okay? Do you always attain what you desire? Is there anybody who has always attained what they desired in this room? Raise your hand if you are there in the room. Which of these can you control? Can you control what you attain? Can you always control what you attain? Is that in your control? What's in your control? Desire is in your control. And that too, you can control desire with a lot of difficulty. It's not easy. So one way of increasing, making this equation positive is by always attaining more and more and more. And that's what we do in our life. That's largely the Western model of happiness. अभी छोटा घर है, बड़ा घर, छोटी कार, बड़ी कार, स्कूटर से साइकिल, साइकिल से स्कूटर, स्कूटर से कार, right? अभी कम पैसे और पैसे और पैसे और पैसे, and then we'll be happy. But even the richest people are not happy. That's the irony of the equation, right? Even the richest guys are not happy. So there is something else that is required to be happy. Now look at desire. The other way to make this equation positive is if this one goes down. Right? Can you make it 0? Then you're always happy. Can you make it 0? You can't. See, mathematically you can put that to 0 and you say, okay, then anything I attain, I will always be happy. But it's not practically possible to make it 0. And that is why some of you were interpreting that our desires need to be not selfish, they need to be broader. Okay? They need to be for humanity, they need to be for society. So the key to that is by starting to lower your own desires. How do you do that? I'll give you an example. Right now you guys are in school, right? Soon you will go to college and then you will get a job. When you get your job, you will get salary. That is the result of your action. That is the fruit of your action. Now if I say donate some of this, is it easy or is it hard? It's hard because you're attached to it. So the way it starts it by parting a little bit of that. Let's say 10%, okay, you part. Then over time you make it 20, 30, right? You increase the amount of fruit of your labor that you part with. There you are saying that, okay, this is enough for me, let me now give it to others. Right? Now your thinking is broadening. You're not just thinking about your own selfish desire, you're thinking about other people. Okay? Then there comes a point when you keep doing this, it's a process, it's not a switch that can be flipped and done. Over time, your desires become more pious. Desires are always there. There is no way to end desires. But then desire moves, the center, the loci of the desire moves from being very self-centered to being bigger. Desire for the betterment of the humanity. That's a pious kind of a desire. Okay? So that's the idea here. That you can never put your desires to zero, but you can control your desires in terms of your own selfish needs. There is a difference between needs and wants, by the way, okay? What's the difference between need and want?
And wants are like what you dream for, like those are your desires, which you do not need, but you still want.
Exactly. So, what you need to do is lower your personal selfish desires and tame these desires to be beneficial for the mankind, for the humankind. That's what is needed here. Now, we will do the third level interpretation of this equation, which some of you also hinted on. This equation, the happiness equation, also becomes ethics equation. How does it become ethics equation? What happens if your desire is very strong? What happens if your desire to get that 80% is very, very strong? I must get 80. What happens?
If our desires are very strong, then our happiness will be the least.
That's fair enough. Let's hear somebody else. Yeah.
Sir, if we have a very strong desire, then the pressure of getting that desire increases.
What does it do?
Sir, it leads to less happiness.
It's a good answer. Give her a round of applause. Somebody was clapping. Somebody else, what you are saying is true. Absolutely true.
So if our desire is strong, so our increase the level of attaining the desire. So our chances increases of attaining that desire. So attainment level increases from that.
No, it doesn't. It seems like it would, but then that's counterintuitive. If you're so fixated on getting that 80%, you will be dreaming about that 80%, but that's not something that you need to focus on. You need to then focus on actually abhyas. You have to barrage yourself from that 80% and focus on what you can control. If you're so fixated on that 80%, you'll all the time be thinking about that instead of doing what you can control, which is study. Okay? It appears superficially that if I'm more tied to my desire, I will be able to attain what I want, but it is a distraction.
We can do anything to achieve that specific goal.
Explain anything.
Suppose if we want to achieve 90% and we have not worked hard enough and we don't know specific thing on the test, we might cheat or look. Yeah.
Give a round of applause. This is what happens. This is what I mean by if you don't control your desires start controlling you. Do you get it now? Anybody who has cheated in the exam, any student who has ever cheated in an exam, any salesperson who has ever bribed, any CEO who has ever fudged number, why have they done it? Because their desires have started controlling them. Do you think they are happy? No. Because your desires start controlling you. Okay? So this equation, the third level interpretation of this equation is that it becomes ethics equation. If you do not control your desires are going to start controlling you, and that is the beginning of your downfall. Okay? You look at any history book, you look at any scriptures, you look at Ravana, you look at Kansa, you look at recent examples of politicians, industry people, anybody who has had a downfall is because their desires overpowered them. That is why it's very important to control desires if you want to be happy. Okay? Now, as I said, desires will never go away, and desires are somewhat important for you to set your goals. For example, the desire to have 90%, the desire to be ISC topper, ICSC topper, is not a bad desire in itself. It's a good desire. It gives you a sense of direction, sense of purpose in life. But once you have set that desire, put that desire there. Now you have to barak. That means you have to distance yourself from that desire and you have to focus on abhyas. What is abhyas? Practice. Now you have to distance yourself from that. There is a circle of influence and there is a circle of concern. Can you influence being ISC topper? Can you influence that practically? Can you control all the factors that go into it? No. But can you control your abhyas? Can you control the amount of effort you do? You can control the amount of study you do. You can't control the result you get. That's what I'm getting at. Okay? So once you have set the goal, it could be any goal. At your level, it's going to be grades, marks. At people who are working at their level, they would be to be the best performer in their company or to be the best company in the world. That's a good desire to have. But then do not let that desire overpower you. After you have set that goal, focus on the abhyas. Okay? We'll move on to the next equation. Okay, by the way, let's not do this. Which shloka of the Bhagavad-Gita this is?
Karmanye vadikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phale heturvyo mate sangoshya karmani.
Do you know the meaning?
Yes sir. कर्म करो फल की चिंता मत रखो. मतलब do the work but don't क्या कहते हैं रिजल्ट के बारे में मत सोचो. बस तुम अपना काम करो which has been assigned to you.
क्यों नहीं सोचो रिजल्ट के बारे में?
सर बिकॉज डिजायर आ जाएगी ना फिर रिजल्ट के लिए. फिर हम लोग कुछ भी कर सकते हैं उसके लिए क्योंकि डिजायर्स फिर हमें कंट्रोल करना शुरू कर देंगे.
और आप रिजल्ट कंट्रोल कर सकते हो?
नहीं
कर सकते हो. क्या कंट्रोल कर सकते हो?
वर्क. हम अपने एफर्ट्स को कंट्रोल कर सकते हैं. यस सर.
What the karma you are doing, that is what it is. So all I have done here is taken the Bhagavad-Gita 2.47 and put it in an equation. That's all I have done. Just so that our Western minds, which are trained to interpret things mathematically, understand the Sanskrit there. That's all I've done. Okay? So thank you so much for helping with that shloka. Now let's come to karma. What is karma? Actions? Actions? Yeah, you want to say something? Consequences of our actions. Okay, that's good. Yeah.
So going to do good deeds.
Doing good deeds is karma. You're there, but I will talk about it. Yeah, partially. Yes. The energy which we create. How do you create energy?
Sir, in form of our actions, sir, our deeds, sir, behavior.
Okay. Okay. Good enough. Yeah. Yeah, you want to say something?
Sir, karma is the deeds we do or the actions we do which describe our destiny or create our destiny for the future.
Okay, that's a good one. Yeah. Anybody else? One last chance and then we'll move on.
The reflection put by the universe based on our actions.
Okay. Okay. That's a more philosophical interpretation of that. Okay. Now I'm going to ask you something different. What's the difference between karma and kriya?
Kriya refers to the actions you take and karma refers to the consequences of those
Correct.
actions.
Give him a round of applause. That's what it is. So kriya is your activity and karma is the consequence of those activities. Okay. So in the beginning, what did I tell you? A jiva interacts with prakriti. In kala, those interactions are governed by the laws of karma. So now we'll talk about how they are governed by the laws of karma. Okay? So the equation is daunting, but I will explain you. So let's say you are studying now, you go to job. Okay? You work for 1 month, then what do you get? Salary. Then after working for 1 month, there will be some expenses. Okay? What is your wealth at the end of first month? Salary minus expense. Everybody understood that? जितना कमाया, जितना गया, जो बच गया वो सेविंग्स या वेल्थ. फिर सेकेंड मंथ में क्या होगा? न्यू सैलरी आएगी, न्यू एक्सपेंस आएगा. ठीक है? जो पहले का सेविंग होगा प्लस द न्यू सैलरी माइनस द न्यू विल बी द वेल्थ नाउ. यस? द वेल्थ टुडे इज इक्वल टू वेल्थ यस्टरडे प्लस द सैलरी माइनस द एक्सपेंस. ओके? कर्मा भी ऐसा ही होता है. सो एनी एक्टिविटी यू डू is called kriya, right? and the consequence of that is called karma. Specifically we call it kriyaman karma. वो कर्म जो क्रिया से generate हो रहा है उसको क्रियामान कर्म बोलते हैं. Think of it like salary. Anything you do, there is a consequence. The fruit is the salary. Okay? Kriyaman karma. ठीक है? Now you would have heard about destiny. So destiny is called, it's like your expense. It's called prarabdh. संस्कृत में उसको हम prarabdh बोलते हैं. ठीक है? So let's say you are in this life. You'll be doing some karma, right? That's your salary. The new work you do, the new consequences that come. And there will be some things that are due in this life, right? Some destiny that is due in life. कोई अमीर है, कोई गरीब है, कोई CEO बन गया, कोई कुछ बन गया. That's your prarabdh, that's your destiny. That's a consequence of something that you did previously. Okay? So you're creating new karma minus prarabdh, whatever is due in this life. That's your net saving in this life. And then whatever savings you brought from the past, that is also to be added to this for you to get to the current karma balance. Think of it like a bank balance. Okay? Sanchit समझते हैं आप लोग? Sanchit. Sanchit is what you have collected. Sanchit. Okay? So the sum total of all the karma that you have, it's like a bank balance. It's called Sanchit karma. Whatever you have collected so far. So Sanchit karma today, the wealth today is equal to wealth yesterday is equal to Sanchit karma yesterday plus the new salary you got plus the new kriyaman karma minus the expense which is prarabdha. Now you understand? So that's what I've written here. So Sanchit karma, which is your net of the karma today, is equal to net of the karma as of yesterday plus the kriyaman karma that you are creating any moment, every moment as we speak, as we talk, as we sleep, minus whatever is in destiny. That's the equation. Okay? Now here is the thing. You know what is moksha? Moksha is to get out of the cycle of birth and death. The cycle of birth and death is called samsara. Salvation. Salvation. Yes, that's moksha. So you know, you can get salvation when your karma balance is zero. So the way karma works is any interaction that you do with Prakriti is governed by the laws of karma. Okay, we have established that. So what happens is that when you do an interaction, there is a phal, there is a consequence of that. It may happen in this lifetime or it may happen in the next lifetime. You may get the consequence of this now or later. Okay. For now, just assume that soul goes from one body to the next body. That's according to the Bhagavad-Gita. Okay, we can discuss more about whether soul exists or not, but take it as a framework. Whatever you do, you will have consequences. The consequence may be due in this lifetime or next lifetime. Okay. So let's say you do good. Somebody over here was saying karma is doing good deeds. So if you do good, then what will happen? Then you will have to taste the fruit of the good action. If you do bad, then what will happen? Then you will have to taste the fruit of the bad outcome. Okay? The outcome may happen in this life or may not happen in this life. So whether you do good karma or you do bad karma, you have to keep taking birth again and again and again to taste the consequences of your actions. Right? But what is moksha? Getting out of this cycle. So how do you get out of this cycle when all the time, even if you do good karma, you have to face the consequences? To face the consequences, you have to take birth again. You do bad karma, you have to also take the birth again. So both are chain. One is a golden chain, one is an iron chain. But that's not the objective of life according to our scriptures. The objective is to get moksha. And anytime you take birth, you will do new activities, new karma will happen. Uska fruit, ad infinitum. You guys have done induction method in mathematics. It will keep continuing. So how do you get out of this then? So when the soul comes in the material body, when the soul enters from somewhere, on day one, what is your salary? 0. On day one, soul just came into the material body. What is the karma score? The moment it starts eating, drinking, sleeping, what happens? Some karma comes, it keeps growing. You can get salvation if your karma is 0. You can't get salvation until your karma is 0 because you have to face the consequences. So how to make this 0? How do you make this 0? Not doing anything? Can you not do anything? Even when you are sitting, you are breathing. So many activities are happening in your body. You can't not do karma. You are thinking. Can we get out of this cycle if karma is always building? Can we? Yep. Who said yep?
So if we get anything, so we should give it to others also to make it balance or to make it zero. So like.
Kind of. You're there. You're there.
So what we got, so it should be given to others also. So that's why, sir, our karma level so becomes zero and we go to the path of moksha.
That's slightly there. It's partially correct. I'll explain in more detail. You guys have heard of nishkam karma? Suna hai? Okay. What is nish? Bina. Kam? Kam is? Or work? Work or desires? Not work? Work. ये हिंदी का काम नहीं है, ये संस्कृत का काम है. It means desire here. Nishkam. Karma we have already talked about, right? Karma is the consequence of your action. So nishkam karma, that means without desire karma. वो कर्मा जिसमें desire नहीं होती है, उसको निष्काम कर्म बोलते हैं. Let's understand what that means. So in any activity you do, you have karma. We already talked about it, right? Now let's break it down as a formula. All of you have studied chemistry a little bit here and there. For a chemical reaction you need ingredients. If I take out one ingredient, do I get the same chemical at the end of it? No. For you, any activity you do, there are 5 things, 5, that go into it for karma to happen, for you to get the salary. Okay? कर्मा होने के लिए, कर्मा उसका consequence होने के लिए 5 चीजें चाहिए होती हैं. Okay? 5 चीजें क्या क्या हैं? We'll talk about it and then we'll understand what is nishkam karma. One is chestha. Chestha means endeavor. Can you remove endeavor to do something from the work you are doing? Can you remove it? Can you remove endeavor? Okay. Second is adhisthanam. What is adhisthanam? संस्कृत आता है किसी को? Adhisthanam क्या होता है? Adhisthanam is platform. So when you have this endeavor to do something, where will you execute it? You will execute it on a platform. That body, your body is the platform where you execute it. Any karma you do, you are doing through your body, right? This body becomes the platform where you're executing this chestha, this endeavor. Okay? Understood? Body is adhisthanam. Okay? Then there is karanam. Karanam क्या होता है समझते हैं? उपकरण सुना है? उपकरण क्या होता है? Instrument. Karanam is instrument. Okay? So our scripture says we have 5 working senses and 5 sensing senses. So sensing senses क्या है? Your nose, your ear, your tongue, your eyes, those are 5 sensing senses. Okay? उसके अलावा 5 working senses है. उसमें आपके hands, legs, some other 3 are also there. Okay? So you have 5 working senses and 5 sensing senses through which you will execute this endeavor. So far we have discussed how many? 3 ingredients. What are they? Chestha, adhisthanam, karanam. Karanam is upkaran, instruments to do that. Chestha is endeavor. Adhisthanam is platform. Endeavor, platform, instruments. इसके ऊपर आता है दैविक या दैवी, यानी कि you can desire as much as you want to. You may want to do something. It's not going to fructify unless and until there is a divine will for that to happen. Nothing will happen unless there is a divine will. Okay, you can want as much as you want. You can endeavor as much as you want. Okay, can you remove divine? Can you remove? Can you remove your karanam? Can you remove your eyes, nose, hand? Can you remove that? तो 4 चीजें हमने डिस्कस कर ली. क्या क्या डिस्कस कर लिया? चेष्टा, अधिष्ठानम, कर्णम, दैविक, देवी, ठीक है, या डिवाइन. ओके, देयर इज वन लास्ट थिंग दैट गोज इनटू इट. कर्ता, द डूअर. ठीक है, एंड विल फोकस ऑन दिस कर्ता. तो अगर कर्ता निकाल दोगे तो कर्म नहीं बनेगा, बिकॉज यू आर रिमूविंग वन केमिकल फ्रॉम द इक्वेशन. ठीक है, and by the way this karta is the only thing that you can control. You can't remove endeavor, you can't remove chestha, you can't remove adhisthanam, you can't remove karanam, you can't remove God or divine. Okay, only thing you can remove from the equation is karta, so that the karma nahi bane. Okay? Karta kya hota hai? Karta is doer, right? So if you have this illusion that I am the doer, then karma banega. But if you remove yourself that I am not the doer, I am just nimit matra, I am just an instrument, tab nahi banega karma. Let me explain. You guys know what I do? What do I do? What? Author. What does an author do? Writes books. How does an author write book? नहीं, कुछ तो यूज करता होगा ना, पेन से लिखता है ना. Let's say I have give me some examples of very fancy pens. Parker, Perikaran, Mont Blanc. Let's say कि मैं Mont Blanc से अपनी किताबें लिखता हूँ, ठीक है? I write manuscripts of my book using Mont Blanc. So Mont Blanc is the instrument, the karta, right? अब Mont Blanc को कल लगे कि लिखता तो मैं हूँ, है ना? किताब तो मैं लिखता हूँ, और सारी वाहवाही राहुल सिंह लूट लेके जाते हैं, और फिर कल को पेन बोले अब से मैं लिखूंगा बुक, या मैं लिखूंगी बुक. Do you think that expensive Mont Blanc can write anything? No. So this karta is like that. It's about the realization as to who is doing it. Are you doing it, or is there something supreme beyond you through which you are an instrument? You are just not even the pen, you're just the nib of the pen or the tip of the pen that is writing, scribbling something, but you are not the doer. There is something else that is controlling the whole thing. When you get that kind of feeling, then you no longer think of yourself as the karta or the doer. And it's just a realization. The beauty of this is it's just a realization. It's nothing physical. When you have that realization that I am not the doer, tab karma nahi banta hai. How do you come to that realization? That's where nishkam karma comes. When you think of yourself as not the doer, when you think that whatever the consequence of this action, I am not going to think of it as a consequence of my action. I'll just focus on my action, and I will leave the consequences to the higher order, okay, or God, whatever you call it. That thinking is what determines whether karma banega ki nahi banega. So nishkam karma is when you are detaching yourself from the consequence of the action, okay. How do you do it? How do you detach? कहना तो बड़ा आसान है निष्काम कर्म. How do I do it? You do it by attributing your actions to somebody else instead of thinking that you are doing it. That's how you remove the desires from it. Then you start controlling what you can control, which is your efforts, not the result. That's why I keep telling people, don't write in your resume, I am result driven. That means nothing. You need to say I am effort driven. When you go to interviews, you just tell them that I can guarantee my 100%, I'll be sincere in what I do. Result is whatever result is. That takes care of itself. Okay? Now everybody understood? How do you remove, how do you get out, how do you make karma zero? By removing your karta, by removing this feeling of doer. Who is the doer? That's the only way. By the way, let's say today you start doing this, and today you realize this is the way. Whatever I do, the fruit of that I'll attribute to somebody else. And that's how I will have nishkam karma. That's why my karma score will, the karma that I'm creating now will be zero. Do you think you will get moksha today? Why will you not get moksha today? Previous. So बहुत से जो साधु महात्मा होते हैं ना, they may have renounced the world, they may not be attached to the world, they may be doing nishkam karma, but still they have consequences from the past. They still have to live through that. जब वो जीरो होगा बैंक बैलेंस तभी आप जा सकते हो. ओके राइट. यू सी देयर इट सेज इतिहासा, राइट. कौन कौन से दो इतिहास है मैंने बताया था अभी? महाभारत एंड रामायण. दिस चार्ट इज सो बिग, इवन महाभारत एंड रामायण इज नॉट फिटिंग देयर. Forget about the Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is a part of? How big is the Mahabharata? 1 lakh shlokas, 100,000 shlokas. How big is the Gita? 700 shlokas. How many chapters? 18 chapters. 700 shlokas. How many lines? 1400 lines. How big do you think that conversation was between Krishna and Arjuna? 1400 lines. How long was that? 15 minutes? No. 2 hours? About there. Hardly 60 to 75 minutes. That's how long it takes to speak 1400 lines among two people. Okay? Now you need to think about it. कि 1400 line, 75 minutes. उसमें ऐसा क्या बदल गया? It's the same Arjuna before and after that 75 minutes. Sarvashesh Dhanurdhar, the most highly qualified archer, trained by the best teacher, just like you guys are being trained by the best teachers in probably Lucknow or maybe the whole of UP. Yet, when Arjuna goes to his work, the first day of his work, what is his work? What is the work of Arjuna? To fight. He is a Kshatriya, to fight, to protect his land. Where is his workplace? Battlefield. He goes to the battlefield. First day of work, this highly qualified gentleman who is trained by the best teacher is the gold medalist, so as to say. He is Sarvashesh Dhanurdhar, equivalent to 3 or 4 PhDs today. Yet he goes to his workplace totally lost about what I should do. What is my purpose of life? How many of you will be in that situation once you finish college and go to work? Right? That's the thing. What Krishna did to Arjuna was 75 minutes में क्या बदल जाता है? He tells him the purpose of his life. 75 minutes before, Arjuna did not know the purpose of his life. After 75 minutes, Arjuna is very clear about his purpose. What was he clear about? Purpose of his life. Okay? And to that effect, I would say Krishna was the world's first motivational speaker. He did just that. He just motivated Arjuna. It's the same Arjuna. Krishna is fighting the war. Who is fighting the war? Arjuna is fighting the war. So he just motivates them. And it's not that Arjuna did not know his dharma. He knew his dharma. He knew that he's supposed to fight. What was happening is that his dharma, the two dharmas were conflicting. One dharma is to fight for the land and protect the land. The other dharma is to protect your family. So he was never able to decide which dharma is superior. And that happens to all of us. We come in conflict with dharma. Which dharma should I follow? That's why we get confused. And Krishna tells you which dharma is superior, which one to follow. And this art of discerning which dharma is superior is called dharma sukshma. Sukshma matlab hota hai subtleties. Dharma is, what is dharma? What is dharma? Translate in one word. Dharma. No, that's not dharma. Then what is karma then? You want to say something? What you? Okay. If you look at the dictionary and if you open the dictionary, what was the translation of dharma come as in English?
In Sanskrit, dhriyate iti dharma, जो धारण किया जाए वो धर्म है.
अब आगे का लेक्चर आप ले सकते हो. That's a very good understanding of dharma. That is the right understanding. So we'll come to that in a minute. But let me ask you this. When you open the dictionary, Hindi to English, when you look at this word dharma, what is the translation of dharma? What would it say? Religion. That's the problem. Because dharma is not religion. Religion आता है Latin word religio से, जिसका मतलब होता है to connect. The question is connect what? Connect the Atman to the Brahman, connect the soul to the super soul. That is religion. Now, equivalent of that in Sanskrit is not going to be dharma, it's going to be yog. Yog means to connect or to join. Union. Right? Union of what? Union of Atman to the Brahman, the union of man to the super soul. Okay? That's yog and that is also religion. So, etymologically, religion should be yog, should not be dharma. Now, what is dharma? As the gentleman over there said, dharma ka definition Mahabharata में है. धारणात् धर्मम इतेह्यु. वही बोल रहे थे ना? जो धारण करता है. Anything that holds is dharma. Holds what? Holds the creation, holds the universe. Any activity that holds the creation is dharma. Anything that goes against it is adharma. Okay? Everything has a dharma. Dharma is the innate nature of something. So for example, fire का क्या धर्म होता है? To burn. Sugar का क्या धर्म होता है? To be sweet. You can take everything away from sweet except sugar. You can take everything away from sugar except sweetness. You can take everything away from fire except its ability to burn. Now let's come, these are innate, right? Now let's come to living beings. Let's talk about cow. Cow kya karti hai? What does it eat? Then what does it do? And then it excretes, right? Cow dung aata hai. So cow eats the grass, cow shits, and then that shit goes into the soil, it becomes fertilizer, then new grass grows, cow eats again, shits again, cycle continues, right? This whole thing is in balance. That is dharma, when things are in balance. When you try to disturb this balance, it's adharma. Now let's talk about humans. Kitna grass kha legi cow? Can it eat a lot? Can it eat like hectares and hectares of grass? Can it do that? No. But when it comes to humans, and they say with great powers comes great responsibilities. Humans have, that's from Spider-Man, humans have great ability to both disturb or to put this order into greater order, right? They have the power to do both, either ways. Guys, 5 minutes, okay? So humans have this ability. With great powers, as I say, comes great responsibility. And that is why dharma at human level gets so complicated, because we have power, we have the choice, we have determination to shift it one way or the other. A cow cannot eat that much grass, but as humans we can actually destroy or create the planet depending on our consciousness. That's why it's very important to understand what our dharma is. Each one of us has a different dharma. We call it swadharma and pradharma. Swa kya hota hai? Para kya hota hai? Others. So swadharma is who you are. Swa matlab mera. Dharma is innate nature. Just think of dharma as innate nature. What is my innate nature? That is my swadharma. Somebody else's dharma is paradharma, because it's not swa to you. Okay? So let me give you an example and we'll conclude with this. Let's say you are a doctor. What is the dharma of a doctor? What's the dharma of a soldier? Yes. Can a soldier kill to save the country? Is he expected to do that? Yes. So first you need to understand who you are. So a doctor is supposed to save life. So the doctor is supposed to have a lot of compassion. If you take a doctor, give him machine gun and tell him go fight, chances are a doctor will not be able to do it, because the constituent of how a doctor is totally different to how a soldier is. That is why it's very important for all of you to understand what is your swadharma. What are you comprised of? Once you understand your swadharma, once you understand your dharma, then you need to align your karma in accordance to that dharma. Okay? So if your propensity is to be a teacher, don't try and become a soldier. If your propensity is to be a soldier, don't try and become a doctor. That is why it's very important to understand what is your personal swadharma and then to align your karma to it. With that, I'll conclude. I don't know how much time we have for question, but we will ask ma'am if there is time for questions.
So as you have told it, we have to get our karma to zero to get salvation. But we have good karma, for example, and you have the good credit for it. So by doing bad karma, will it reach its negative, or will it reach zero at a point?
No. Think of it like this. It's not like you do good karma and bad karma and they negate each other. It doesn't work like that. It's like, let's say you sow 5 mango seeds and you sow 3 lemon seeds. Can you then say that because one is sweet, one is sour, so I will get 2 mango trees in the end? It doesn't work like that.
Is there a time when dharma and swadharma intersect each other?
They must, right? So dharma is the innate nature of something, or something that will keep the universe in balance, right? Swadharma is a subset of that. Swadharma is that dharma as it applies to you. Okay? Next door, the person next to you, the dharma as applies to him would be his swadharma, which would be paradharma to you. Let's say you want to be a doctor, he wants to be an engineer, there will be a professional ethics for engineer. That becomes the swadharma of that gentleman. And if you want to be a doctor, that becomes your swadharma, because that's individual to you. Okay? So swadharma and dharma need to intersect.
So in Mahabharata, basically, there was a person who followed his swadharma instead of dharma. So he's still treated like not that great. But so is it wrong that he followed his swadharma?
I'll give you an example, okay? I think probably I know what you're hinting at. You know Bhishma Pitama? So Bhishma Pitama had his obligation to serve the person in power, the king, okay? That was his obligation, right? And that is what I'm trying to say, that dharmas, different kind of dharmas will conflict each other. You need to have the discretion to decide which dharma is superior. For example, let's say you go to work, your boss will give you some orders. And if you realize that what my boss is telling me to do is unethical, one way you can argue is that I'm here to follow what my boss tells me, that's my dharma towards my boss. That's my dharma towards somebody who gives me salary. But if you know by executing that you are going to cause harm to people or to the planet, should you do it? So that is the thing. Bhishma Pitama, even though he followed his dharma in terms of his Kshatriya dharma, he still did not understand the grand scheme of the dharma. Right? Is that your question? Is that what you're asking? So always follow the ethical path. How do you know what is ethical? It comes with practice, it comes with reading, it comes with talking to people who are at that level, right? So you always need to have this power of discrimination to understand which dharma is superior. For example, if I say, should you lie? What is your answer? Yes or no? But if I tell you, should you lie if it's going to save somebody's life? What's your answer now? Does it change? If I ask you, should you kill? What's your answer? But if I ask you, you are a soldier, now should you kill? Yes. So these things are not in isolation. You need to always put context. You need to have that subtlety. You need to have that discrimination of which dharma is superior. Yes, you should not lie. Yes, you should not kill. But there is a time and a place when you must kill. Arjuna killed so many people. Why did he do that? Because he was establishing dharma. He was not doing it for his self-gratification. The difference between Arjuna and a thief or a robber is that robber is killing for his self-gratification, for his own desires. Arjuna is not killing for his desires. He is killing to protect dharma. Okay? You can argue both are killing, but there are two different killings. Okay?
So for example, Prahlad, sir, he was from an Asur kingdom, and he betrayed his father, Sir Hiranyakashyap, to join the Vishnu Sena, sir. And because of that, he was confused between Dharma and Adharma. That should he follow the Vishnu Sena or he should follow the path of his father. And so, sir, he betrayed his father, and then he joined the Vishnu Sena and killed Holika's many soldiers, sir.
So did he follow dharma or adharma?
Sir, dharma.
Why do you say so?
Sir, he was the first Asura, I think so, to join the Vishnu Sena. And sir, because of that, he was, I think so.
Yeah, what you're saying is correct. Give him a round of applause. I think you get what he's trying to say, right? So let me give you an example. In the family of a thief, a child who doesn't steal thinks of him as a criminal. In the family of thief, the guy who doesn't steal feels guilty, right? So that's what he's trying to say, that in Hiranyakashyap, he was born in a family which was Asur. So he was confused, which one should he follow? So that is why you need to be guided by the right kind of knowledge. There is Vidya and there is Avidya. Always follow Vidya. Vidya, what is Vidya? Vidya is something that gives you the power of discrimination, to distinguish right from wrong, good from evil, bad from good.
So can we obtain happiness if we are expecting disappointment, so we won't actually get disappointed?
I have never met anybody who expects disappointment. Do you?
No, sir, but if we expect disappointment, then the attainment which we will get...
That will make you more pessimistic.
Okay, sir.
It's not going to help you.
Okay,
always
sir.
Be optimistic.
Okay,
okay?
Sir. Yes.
Yeah.
With our past actions always taken into consideration, how do we get the karma to be zero?
Yeah, so that's the thing. You can't think about the past. In mathematics, we have something called Markovian process. यहाँ पे पहुँच गए हो, right? You are here. You can only control your life from here on. You can't change the past. Forget about the past. That will take care of itself. Now that you're here, let's say you have exams, right? Let's say until half yearly exam you have not studied. Now you want to go and change your score in the half yearly. Can you do that? What can you do? study now so that your final exams are better, right? That's the only thing you can do. So you can't stop worrying about past. Whatever jo ho gaya, ho gaya. You can't really, don't over-engineer this, okay? See, karma zero nahi hoga. Jo piche ka hai, uska to consequence report card mein aayega hi na. Ki you got 30 out of 50 in your exam. You can't change that. But in the final exam, you might get 50 on 50, right? That's what you can control. That's what you can look forward to.
So, for example, if there is a robber who steals things from other people's, but the robber only gives the food and equipment to himself and his own family. Now, the robber has no other choice but to steal. So all he does is for the good of his family. So does that count as a bad karma or a good karma?
That's a good and a difficult question. So on one hand, the robber is thinking of his family, which is good in itself because he's thinking beyond himself, or maybe the robber is thinking for the entire clan. But there are other ways of attaining what the robber is trying to attain, right? There are ethical ways of doing it, right? So there are in our own scriptures, it's full of example, like for example Valmiki, right? He used to be a robber. So if you are thinking beyond yourself, all that needs to be done is flip your consciousness so that you follow the ethical path to meet the need of your people. Does that answer you? Yeah? Okay.
You told that the divine power is responsible for all our deeds, we are just the karta. So will this still apply if we conduct bad deeds?
Of course. You're asking about free will, right? Do we have free will, right?
Yes.
So you have the free will to choose what you do, right? But what I was saying is chesta, I was saying endeavor. You may endeavor to do something, it may or may not fructify until the divine sanction is there. Think of it like a divine sanction. But you still need to endeavor. That endeavor is in your control, okay? So you have to start. So if you endeavor to do good, good may or may not happen. You may endeavor to do bad. There are so many terrorists who want to blow up the thing. Do they always succeed?
No.
No, because there is another power that is acting, right? So endeavor is in your control. Okay?
Thanks.
Sir, while you were mentioning about the 5 ingredients, cheshta, adhishthanam, upkaranam and karanam and devya and karta, you were saying you can only change the karta. But my question is, if you are changing the karta or the doer, then will the cheshta not change? Because it is the virtue of the doer itself.
So chesta is endeavor, right? You can endeavor to do something, right? But the subtlety over here is you are endeavoring to do something, but you don't think yourself as the sole person due to which the consequence will happen. It's about ego. Am I the doer or is there a higher power? So you are still endeavoring. I still need a pen to write, right? When I'm writing a book, I still need a pen. I can't throw away the pen. Of course, you can say I can use a computer keyboard, but if you try to understand, you still need the pen. You can't throw away the pen. But the feeling here is, does the pen think it is doing, or does it think that it is a part of the grand scheme of things? So when you talk about chesta, it's your individual, that's the same question which the other lady was asking. It's your individual endeavor that you do, yet you need to be aware that you are not the sole ingredient that goes into it. There are many other factors that go into it for you to fructify your endeavor. Does it answer you?
No, actually I wanted to say, you would say that when the state of the doer will change, then of course the level of the endeavor will also change, I think so.
Let's go back to the shloka. So the last line of the shloka says, akaramani. That means do not be attached to inaction. You still need to do your action. Okay? You still need to do your chesta. What you're saying is that if I think of myself as not the doer, then my responsibility to do something will diminish, because then I will think that I am not in control of what I do. Is that what you're trying to say?
No, I don't want to say that there would be no endeavor, but I want to say that there are even levels of the chesta which you do now. It is selfish and selfless.
Yeah. So be sincere in your chesta. Okay? That's the only thing you're guaranteed. That you're only guaranteed to your karma. Be sincere in everything you do. If you want to be a banker or if you want to be a teacher, be the 100% that you can give. Okay? But whatever the consequence comes, do not think yourself as the sole driver of that. That's the idea there. We can have more discussion offline. Okay? Let's other ask question. Yeah. I want to tell you something and we'll conclude the session. So I've written 2 books. I've written more books, but we'll talk about 2 books. One is Engineering to Ikigai. This is life journey of 25 people who have quote unquote discovered their purpose, what they want to do in life. One of them is an alumni from your school. He studied here. He was a brilliant scholar. He got scholarship to study in Singapore. Then he became an investment banker where he was the highest paid banker. After that he gave that all to become a monk. He's an alumni of your school. And many other stories are in this book. Some people have become dancers, painters, innovators, entrepreneurs. So this might be useful for you if you want to understand how people have reached their purpose. And of course, this book is called An Atheist Gets the Gita. Now this book talks about how you can find your purpose from within. The first book is how you can get inspired by others. The second book is how you can find your purpose from within. I'm leaving the books with Principal Ma'am. If you want to purchase these books, you can contact the principal's office or the library as the case may be, and you can take it from the principal's office or library. Okay? With that, thank you so much for hosting me. It was lovely speaking to you.
On behalf of our school, we extend a heartfelt gratitude to Sir Rahul Singh for being here with us to enlighten and inspire us with his gripping thoughts.
We are eager to incorporate and follow the lessons shared by you. Dear sir, we truly did enjoy listening to you. Thank you.